Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 and the fourth part of this European Super League experiment across 9 different tiers. Now up to this point we're into the year 2025. We've seen Manchester United dominate the league structure but struggle in the game's Champions League, which is quite interesting. They haven't been able to do so well in cup competitions, but you see Man City currently on track to win the title. Today we're going to go forward another 5 years. We're going to quickly run through the leagues and try and get an idea of which teams and which countries are doing quite well and which ones are struggling, and just see if it's starting to level out a bit across Europe. You can see in the top division there's not too many surprises. Newcastle and Tenerife maybe the biggest surprises up there. You've got Benfica, Lisbon up there and Marseille in there as well. But overall, a pretty solid team. Zenit St. Petersburg doing very well actually up there. Besiktas as well. A little bit surprising to see them in 8th place. But some teams doing very, very well, it must be said. But we are just going to go forward 5 years and see where the league generally is ending up. Before we do go ahead, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these experiments. There will be another one of this out in a couple of days' time if you want an extra part, that is. If you would like to see one more, and I think definitely the final part of this, do drop a like on the video. If we can hit, say, 250 likes, I'll take that as a sign that you do want to see one final part where we go maybe 5 or 10 years into the future. But do hit that like button and let me know if there is something you want to see using the comments. But before any more of my chat, let's go forward 5 years and see how the league is shaken up. Well, we are now into the year 2030. It's the 15th of April, so not quite at the end of the season. Unfortunately, when I put this to go forward on holiday, the auto-save started to kick in at a random point, which is a little bit frustrating, but I'm sure we can get a picture of who is doing well and who is winning the leagues. Now, before we go ahead, I did just notice on the save screen that FM gives you, this database had over 2,000 changes to it, so huge props to the guy who actually made this database. There's a link to his FM Scout page in the description. You should definitely go over there and drop a thanks to him on the comments and let him know if you are actually using this database as well. It does look like an interesting one to do a series in, and he has just released an update as well, so do go over there and have a look at the database and download it as well. Let me know if you are managing a team down in the comments. But as you can see here in Europe League 6, it's currently being dominated by Ashdod, who are at the top there with 98 points. 6 teams getting automatic promotion and then another 6 going into the playoffs down here. And right at the bottom, we can see the worst team now is actually Portimonense, which is quite interesting. They're a Portuguese team and they are right at the bottom, being outplayed by some of the eastern teams that maybe shouldn't be doing that well, because Portimonense, obviously a team from the western region, and they are really struggling down in this league. As we just go up, we can see Levadia now in 19th place. Unfortunately, they have not been promoted yet, but currently sitting in 19th place and doing very, very well. If we just have a quick look at the past winners here, you can see Nacional de Mira, Excelsior, Arsenal Kiev, Ages, Skilburg and Sirius, the teams to take the title recently. And if we just go back through the stages of the league, you can see 11 on points there, just 2 goals in it across a 59 game season that year. 47 points down at the bottom there. Excelsior winning it by 2 points, usually 100 points enough to take this title. 26 points at the bottom there. Teloptic. At the top again, Arsenal Kiev won this one. The eastern teams seem to be doing an awful lot better than they were before. Again, Teloptic down at the bottom of the league table. And then you've got SC Ages at the top there. Once more, eastern teams doing well. Now they are the ones that have been relegated down. You can see there's a disproportionate number of those eastern teams in this bottom tier, because they have fallen down, but it means they are the ones getting promoted back up, and that might do them quite well going forward. Now if we go into Europe League 5 East, you can see the top team here is Sheriff with Ecclestuna, actually Manitas or something like that. I know that in the comments I've been being butchered for not knowing enough about the lower leagues or Eastern European leagues and all these other sort of stuff, but quite frankly I don't watch a lot of European football outside of the Champions League and Europa League, so if they're not in those leagues on a regular basis, I'm not going to know that much about them because I have so much else going on in my life. So if you have knowledge about any of these teams and maybe you support one, do let me know down in the comments. But you can see here down at the bottom you SJK there. If we drop back and just have a look at how the teams are shaken up here, Corona getting promoted, 44 points at the bottom there. Slovako, great name at the top there. Going up and down at the bottom, you can see Kapate and Halmstads both going down 2 points off safety. You've got Napredak at the top and Vicenza and Benevento, who I would have thought would be doing quite well as a, I'm pretty sure, second tier Italian team, but they've just fallen into the very bottom tier, so not doing well at all. And at the top there you can see Israeli team Hapoel doing quite well, but 3 teams getting relegated that year. If we go up to the Central League, then we can see at the moment you've got Baltica doing well at the top, Rapid Bucharest trying to do well, the Romanian side, and then further down Kilmarnock getting relegated. The Scottish teams were doing very well for quite some time, but you can see Kilmarnock now quite a way behind Cork City. So I think the league really has rebalanced, because if any of these teams had come up against each other in, say, the Europa League or even in a friendly at the start of this series, I think there would have been very much a role reversal. But because the way they balanced out on prize money and things like that, I think some of the more highly rated teams are really starting to struggle and not quite doing so well. Now if we just go back through here, so you can see Panathinaikos, I think is how you pronounce that one, have done well getting promoted, and down at the bottom you've got Palanios going down with 46 points. Again, Shamrock Rovers, the team getting relegated down there. Hansa Rostock Charlton going up. They should be in a much, much higher league. Obviously, they've got promoted here, but they shouldn't be down there in the first place. And then if we go up to the Western League, you can see at the moment 2 around the team winning this. I think some people have pointed out that obviously the teams are not sticking in that east-west central location, which I think probably is messing with some of their OCD, but I think it's quite difficult to set up a rule structure where that is actually the case. You can see Östersund's going down there, who are quite a famous team because of their Europa League run, but they're just about to drop into the bottom tier in this Super League system. Hapoel Tel-Aviv winning the league there, Excelsior going down. But overall, not a huge points disparity from top to bottom anymore. We were seeing a lot of 0 and 1 point sort of seasons at the bottom with 100 plus ones at the top, but now it seems like it's very much more balanced as we go up into League or Europe League 4. You can see Ross County currently leading there, and down at the bottom, few teams just below that 40 to 50 points ratio looking to get relegated. But again, Dinamo Brest on 89 points, 45 points for Varese down the bottom. There's Kilmarnock, who got relegated. St Johnstone did win Europe League East, though. And if we go back again, Netanyahu, here we've got Sundersval actually getting relegated on just 38 points. So there are still some instances of teams not doing very well, especially in this league, but there might be teams still falling, or maybe they're getting financial problems. There could be a whole host of reasons why that is happening. Belenenses is a team that should definitely be doing a lot better than they are down here. Other teams down here, you can see Rio Ave down here, a Portuguese Premier League team as well, so Show down there as well. Alsason have done well winning the league here. And then there's Dunstreda, which I've never heard of, and Entella winning it, and Portsmouth did manage to get a title there. Now if we go up to the West League, you see Sparta Prague doing well at the moment, Tel Aviv in here as well, but Antwerp really struggling down there, another team that should be a bit further up than they are. Dynamo Minsk doing well as league winners there. Interesting that Bohemia United 05 up there as well. Sparta Prague possibly also should be further up there. Let me know if you're seeing teams massively out of place here. Obviously I can't take time to look at every single one, but you are welcome to pause the video as and when you like. I'm going to start to go through this a little bit quicker, otherwise we're going to be here for absolutely ages. Not too many familiar teams in there. You've got Ludogorets and Alsason in there. Avellino, title winners, Charlton finishing in 4th place. Not seeing an awful lot of English teams down here other than Charlton, who've been banging about in this league for a little while. Most of the English teams seem to have settled further up, and in fact it's the same for the French and Italian and German teams as well. Not seeing any of those down in these bottom leagues as we go up to Europe League 3 Central. A few Dutch teams in here, Swedish teams, Portuguese team in Moriense. But as we go back to Sana, they're getting promoted again. Very few of those big nations in the mid-table section of these leagues. And this is the, I think, 5th league down, or 5th tier rather. You see Bursaspor going up there again. Very few of the big established leagues here. Albacete going up. There's been a few second-tier teams from the big nations, but overall they're doing pretty well at the top. Now if we go up to Europe League 2, you can see here's a few of those more established nations. You've got Hanover 96, Eintracht Frankfurt in there, Albacete in there, Birmingham in there, an English team there. Kaiserslautern did with the league. It's starting to get a little bit more balanced here between the bigger leagues and the smaller leagues, but still the big leagues definitely doing a lot better than anyone else. You can see there Lugo winning the league, Waasland Bavaria, a Belgian team, in second place, with Birmingham in fifth place that season, and Randers and Strasbourg and Auxerre, all the teams going up. Into the second tier, Avellino, Central League, Avellino at the top there, Bolton in there that time, Crystal Palace down in 19th place, and Sunderland as well. They should all be very much further up the league structure than they are. Blackpool down here as well. Fiorenze, Boavista down there, Numancia. Some decent teams down here. Cherno Moor. What on earth is Cherno Moor? Where are they from? I've got absolutely no idea what league Cherno Moor are from. But there you go. Because they're now based in Luxembourg, I actually can't find out. Possibly Spanish? Cherno Morvana. Maybe somebody can let me know down in the comments, but that just struck me. You've got Benai Yuhanda in there as well, or Yehuda. Another one that I'm not... Tel Aviv, there we go, they're from Israel. But they're doing very well. Teams that I have absolutely never heard of, right at the top here, above some of the other more established teams that we've seen, like Charlton and the other leagues. And then if we go up to the Western section... again, some teams in here that I don't really recognise very well that are absolutely outperforming certainly bigger names elsewhere in the league structure, and it's really surprising that it's happening. But I think that's possibly the impact of the prize money coming into play here as we just go through these. And then go up into Europe League West. You've got the likes of Celtic in here alongside teams like Carvina and Nizza, and then Arsenal, Tula down there as well. Celtic absolutely not doing as well as you would imagine. I think they might even be below Rangers now in the league structure, which would be massively disappointing to any Celtic fans out there. And if we just go up to the Central League in League 1, you can see Leonesa winning that one. Randers down there. Yeah, Rangers promoted the year before, so Rangers now a tier higher than Celtic, which is certainly not going to make a lot of Celtic fans happy, and it looks like Rangers actually got promoted just a couple of years before that as well. If we go to the West League, you see Rennes winning this league at the moment. Millwall down here as well. Atalanta in there, Montpellier in there as well. Copenhagen getting relegated down at the bottom. Braga doing well, Portuguese team. And Verona going up. It does seem so much more balanced than before. I think this is almost always the case with time, especially in a tier structure like this where the prize money isn't too dissimilar. Actually, Rangers are in the East Championship. Yeah, that is the tier above where we were before. So we're into, I believe this is the third tier now. Auxerre at the top, Real Zaragoza up there, Stoke, Lazio, PSV. Certainly some more recognisable names in and around this league now. As you know, big teams from the big leagues starting to appear in the third tier and up. Now if we go to the Central League, you can see Las Palmas in there with Blackburn, Espanyol, Bologna, Watford in there, former Premier League team in the third tier. Sheffield United staying up there as well, Mets winning that one, then Fulham and Krivia Sovotov, another team that I've just never heard of, possibly from Croatia based on that player, but I honestly have no idea about that team unless it's got a title in there. No idea where that's from. If we go up to the West League, then we can see Westerlo, Burnley in here, Club Brugge in here, should be doing a lot better than they are. Braga, Parma down there as well. Torino managed to get promoted, and as did Huddersfield. Real Oviedo's in here. Cardiff, Spal, AEK all up there as well. And then into that second tier. Now here's some more of the big European giants. You've got Zenit up here, Leipzig, Napoli, Fiorentina. This is a much more competitive league. A lot of the Eastern teams, though, have completely dropped out of it. You've got Dukla Prague, though, hanging up there from the Czech Republic. And then CSKA Sofia also hanging on in this Eastern league. Most of them have been promoted out of that league now. Atletico Madrid down here also managing to get promoted. Only one team going up, remember. So Zenit were up that season. Atletico Madrid the season before. Hamburger Stuttgart and Krasnodar going up there, which is quite interesting. If we go up to the Central League, we can see the likes of Empoli, Wolves are in here. They did well for a while. West Ham, Southampton down here. Leicester, the former Premier League champions, struggling down in the second tier. Newcastle managed to go up this season here, as you can see. Lyon also going up there. Burton are in here as well. I mean, what are Burton doing in the second tier? So close to promotion. Lyon going up. And then before that, Liverpool managing to get back into the top. And in this West League, Brentford, the team that we were tracking for so long, who managed to fire up the league, looking like they're going back into the top flight. Valencia there, Hull as well. Fiorentina before that, Bayer Leverkusen. And then Brentford have already been in the top flight. They got straight up into the top tier. And here is the Super League. And at the moment, it's PSG leading the way. If we go back to where we left off last time, you can see City did eventually win that league ahead of United, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, Besiktas doing well, Zenit doing well. The following year, PSG taking the title, 6 points clear of City. United dropping down to 4th this time. Pretty established order at the top. Brentford, unfortunately, did get relegated straight away, but Tenerife doing very well hanging on in the league. Man United managed to come back 122 points to take the title. AC Milan having a good resurgence. Liverpool up there, and obviously a team that got relegated not too long ago. Krasnodar doing very, very well there in 22nd place. Tenerife finally lose their grip. And again, United 3 points clear of PSG that season. Krasnodar still up there, Porto up there, Newcastle unfortunately relegated, and United again with the title. They just cannot stop winning this title, but it's so nice to see a team like Krasnodar up there. You've got this Krylia Sovetov team up here as well, and they managed to avoid relegation via the playoffs. And in the most recent season, you can see Arsenal looking to go down, Newcastle look like they're going down, but this Krylia Sovetov team are doing exceptionally, and look at that rise. They started all the way down in Europe League East at the beginning of this, Europe League 5 rather, got promoted again, spent a bit of time in European League 3 before going up, and now they're in the Super League. I mean, look at this rise. It's so easy for teams to just fly up there, and they are a rich team, which is why they've managed to do that. So they've managed to get right into the top tier now. Possibly because they've got a billionaire owner. If we have a quick look at their transfer history and how they've managed to do that, you can see 71 million spent, 135. They've definitely got a billionaire sugar daddy come into the club, and it is that easy to get promoted. So I really do want to see you guys taking on this database and letting me know how well you managed to do with your teams, because I don't think it's that hard to go from the bottom tier to the top tier in this database on this evidence. So if we just have a look at the past winners of the Super League, you can see United are the dominant team. They are absolutely cleaning up. PSG have a couple, City has one, and Bayern Munich has one, but Man United have now won this 8 times. It's almost as if Sir Alex Ferguson is back in charge of the club. But if we just go to the Champions League now, then we can see the current holders are Real Madrid. I'm not going to spend too long looking at this structure or the stages. If we just go to possibly this period, it's not going to offer me a tree structure, rather annoyingly. So if we just go to the past winners, then we can see Everton actually did make one of these final. United have now won a couple of them. There's one for Liverpool as well, as they continue to punch above their weight in Europe. Bayer Leverkusen missing out in the final. Not too many surprising teams in here, just Everton really, who've actually done very well to make one of these finals. Because if we have a look at where Everton are, they are in the second tier, and they managed to do this while in the second tier. They got Frank de Boer back in charge as well. Now all of these teams are based in Luxembourg, but the creator of the database did make it clear that the teams still retain their regions from where the club is based, regardless of what league they're in, which is why Everton would still be pulling in English regions and the English teams pulling in their regions as well. So if you were wondering about that, it's not going to make Luxembourg get the best players in the world through regions, but they will get them just because they're bringing those players into their national team through citizenship requirements. Now if we have a look at the national team for Luxembourg and their squad, you can see they've still got Lewis Cook at the club. but not as much value in there anymore. Maybe a little bit more difficult to pull some of the best players into their team. But if we have a look at their senior squad schedule and how they've managed to do over the past few years, we left off in 2025. They seemed to qualify for the World Cup that year. They managed to beat Portugal, 4-0 win over the Faroe Islands as well. And then in European Division Group B, they were, I think, probably relegated out of that. They weren't actually in the World Cup that year. European Championship qualifying seemed to go okay as well. Missing out to Russia perhaps, but they did qualify for the World Cup. 3-0 loss to Spain, 2-0 loss to Denmark. They did manage to beat Poland 2-0, but it was not enough to get through their group. And their World Cup qualifying seemed to really struggle. Losing to Cyprus away is a bit of a shock there. And they don't seem to have qualified for the World Cup this year, I wouldn't imagine. So not quite recruiting as many good players as they possibly were before, but they are ranked 26th in the world, which is a massive improvement on where they were before. If we just have a look at the European Championships here, you can see Germany have won it in the last 2 years. England did win one in 2020. When it comes to the European International League, England have won the most recent one in 2029, and then heading into the World Cup, or if we can get to the World Cup, then you can see Italy, the most recent winners, France, Brazil, Germany, Spain. No new countries really entering the mix to become world champion. So mostly the teams all hanging around just the same. If we do just have a look at the world screen here and see if there's anything majorly interesting. You've got the World Cup winners there. Here are the nation rankings. You've got Spain up there, England up there, Brazil up there. Major clubs, Sheffield Wednesday up there as one of the major clubs in the world. Why are Sheffield Wednesday in second place for the clubs in the world? They are in the Super League. They finished 8th. They are another team that have had a lot of promotions. They've got Scouffé in their goal. Top players, you've got Dennis Mann. They're all at United, really. But Dennis Mann, the big name player, 55 million. He's got an in-game picture, so he must be a regen available in the game if you're looking for one. Quite a few players there from the Manchester clubs. And then if we just have a look at the managers screen and the best managers in the world, you can see Frank de Boer for Everton up there, Ortega up there, Pep Guardiola currently at Spain. Just having a look at any other big names. Antonio Conte's at Porto, Klopp at Zenit St. Petersburg, Allegri's at Chelsea these days. And then Carlo Ancelotti at PSG, who are still based in France rather than Luxembourg. Interesting that some teams based in Luxembourg, others are not. I'm not sure why that's the case. And then further down, not too many I recognise getting down to this point. There will, of course, be quite a few regens or former players in here that have become managers. Diego Simeone now at Liverpool. So somebody has to see that, which is why I pulled that up. If we look at the richest clubs in the world, you could say the richest club here is Leipzig, which, given they're not even a top tier team, is quite interesting. Other teams like Ingolstadt up here, I mean, which league is this team even in? They're down in the 3rd tier, and yet are the 2nd richest team in the world. So the finances massively turned on its head, and I have absolutely no idea why. Man United, 8 times European Super League winners, are in 100th place when it comes to the richest club, or at least financial status. If we look at turnover, then you can see, there we go, United are the best team for turnover, but Kryla Sovetov doing incredibly well. They've got a 44,000 capacity stadium there, and incoming PSG and Bayern Munich, teams like that. Most season ticket holders, Barcelona at the top there by a long way. I'm quite interested in this screen now. Sheffield Wednesday, the highest ticket price, seems a bit unfair, and the average season ticket price, of course, Arsenal massively out in front. I don't think there's too much point in looking at these. You can see the Premier League is the 4th highest ranked league in the game, but it's not an active league. I can't even click on it. And so I think that's probably it for today's episode. Now, if you have enjoyed today's episode, do drop a like on the video. If you want to see that final part as well, make sure you get this video up to, I think it was 250 likes, I said. And then I will do one final part. Make sure to subscribe for when that comes out in a couple of days' time. There will be a new experiment in 4 days' time as well. So let me know if you've got ideas for that down in the comments. But until next time, see ya.